Greetings, friends! I'm finally getting around to finishing this block raised bed that I started working on a few weeks ago. I needed to borrow a saw to cut these blocks right here. And I was able to borrow a quickie saw from my father-in-law. So we're able to finally get these cut and get this project finished. Lacie worked for years with him in the masonry business. So I'm gonna have her mark these blocks because they're gonna need to be cut in half so that way I can lay them down to make all the walls level. Yeah, I need half blocks to be able to do so on the back wall. So if she's gonna mark those, and I'm gonna use the quickie saw to cut them, lay them, and then finally get this project finished.
So almost done sharpening our pencil here. These, I always thought of them as masonry pencils because that's what my dad did, and they probably are referred to that. But they're much easier to use on projects because you leave a better mark with these. So let's go measure some block. Okay, so we have an 8-inch block here, but they don't measure 8 inches. So you always want to make sure you measure whatever you're cutting in half or however you're cutting it. So we measure it, it's actually 7.5 inches. So Sayla, what is half of 7?
Half of 7 is 3.5.
Yes, you are correct. But we still have half an inch. What is half of half an inch?
1/4.
1/4. So we go 3.5, and then we still need to add a quarter to it, so that is 3 3/4 right there. Then you get my square for me.
There you go.
Okay. And you line up your marks with your square. There you go.
Alrighty, got my gear on, borrowing Sayla's earmuffs. I can't find mine right now, so hers will just have to do. It's been quite some time since I've used one of these, and I've actually never used one exactly like this. The ones I've used in the past have been gas powered. This was a battery powered one, and I must admit when he first showed it to me, it kind of chuckles like, it looks like a little toy here, but it comes with some power. So as I was working on laying and setting up the block, Lacie and the kids were working on doing some cleanup in the garden. All right, so let's see if we're lining up correctly. This is the corner we need to match up with. Make sure it's level. Alrighty, so finally got my block set up. Took a little bit because I had to go through and dig out some of the ground to level it out to put our half block on that Lacie measured and I cut. So once we got that done, then as I was going through that, so gradually adding on each course of block on there and have it set up now, everything except for the cap block, which go right on top of there. And you can see over here is where I have some, and then I ran out back here. So we're gonna have to look around and see if we can find some more of the cap block to go on top. So it is what it is. The next thing I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna go ahead and level out this compost that we dumped in here, I think last week or something like that. So do that, but before I do that, I was just at the mailbox, and let me just say, going to the mailbox for us is a little different than a lot of people, probably a lot of you. Some of you can just go out a few feet or right outside your door to your mailbox, but it's quite a ways to our mailbox, and whether we're walking, you're gonna be getting some walking in, some exercise in to get to the mailbox, or we take the lawn tractor, which the kids like to do a lot. So went to the mailbox and then got my order here from High Mowing Seed. I needed to order some more seed, and they had some particular basil that I have been looking for, because in the past we've had some issues with your Italian style basil, which most people really like, including me. So with that, with all of our humidity issues here, we have just had so much trouble with like the powdery mildew on that basil, and that's a common problem that a lot of people have with growing basil. However, they have worked on developing some basil that is more resistant to that. So High Mowing Seed is one of the companies that happen to sell it, and I bought some here. So got some, and I will be starting it very soon. It's a Rutgers DMR basil organic seeds, so we'll be starting that as well. And then I also ordered just some more lettuce seeds, because I'm constantly growing lettuce around here. So look forward to starting those seeds. But and maybe we'll grow some of that in this bed here. I don't know, but we will be growing the basil now that I have my seeds. I do want to mention that we've grown Thai basil in the past, and it is really resistant to the powdery mildew. And but it just doesn't have the same flavor for certain dishes. It's really good for like a tea, but it doesn't have the same flavor like that you're looking for if you're doing like some kind of Italian dish, or if you want an egg sandwich with some basil on it, which I really like, by the way. So anyways, I need to get back to work. Go ahead and level this out, and we'll keep things rolling. Whew! Well, I found my red earmuffs and didn't have to use Salah's pink ones anymore. Well, I accidentally didn't push the record button while I was working here, so I had all this time-lapse progression video footage going, and you missed out on that. So, but I did get it all leveled out, as you can see now. It's all leveled out, and this is the part on this project, and it's a similar feeling that I have sometimes with other projects. It's like, oh, I'm ready to move on. There's so many other things I'd rather do now. I'd rather just leave this here and move on. But this is something that somebody corrected me on a number of years ago, and I try to keep it in mind, to not be all over the place working on this, working on that, working on this, working on that, and never get anything finished, but to narrow your focus on the task that you're doing and finish it if you can. Now, there's times where you don't have the resources, or things happen that you need to move on to something else, or stop for today if you run out of daylight, or whatever the reason may be. But then there's a lot of times where we just, I don't know if it's our attention, a lack of discipline, or whatever, sometimes we just don't finish the things that we need to finish, and me included. But we need to hunker down, self-discipline ourselves, and just focus on finishing the task. So keep that in mind. And speaking of correction, I also received some correction recently from someone on a post that I did on social media. And once they made their comment and proposed why I was in the wrong for doing that post, I was like, you know what? They are right. I shouldn't have made that post. So I deleted it, and then I thanked the person for the correction, and moved on. And we should be all willing to receive correction when people give us correction. We should be humble enough to do that, and that's something I strive to do, because that's how you learn. If you're just always, I'm always right, I'm never wrong, then you don't learn, and you're not humble, and pain and bad things can happen as a result of that. So I do appreciate correction, even though it's difficult to receive sometimes, actually most of the time, but we just need to be able to accept it. Now, there are times where people offer advice and say things that really aren't beneficial, and then sometimes there's more of just personal preferences on things, and it's beneficial to weigh those things out. But we need to listen to people when they offer sound advice and correction, and be humble enough to receive it. Well, I'm going to finish this project, of at least what I'm going to finish for today. Next, now that we've got all this soil and this bed ready, why not put some seeds in and not waste time? Let's start growing something here. So I want to grow some sunflowers in the back, and some corn, as well as some other flowers in the front. So I'm going to be popping those seeds in right now. Alright, so we're going to do these sunflowers. We're going to try these. And I selected these because they're supposed to be tall and multi-branched. So that means they should stand tall, hopefully right at the background of our corn. We're going to do this corn here. Both seeds from Baker Creek. So we'll put our sunflowers in first. And they're supposed to be about 1 foot apart. So these must be some big ones. We'll give them a shot. Alright, and this corn's supposed to be super sweet right there, as well as a large yellow kernel, so looks like that was going to be delicious. Alright, next we just kind of cover these up. As I'm doing this, I'm kind of thinking, maybe I've made a mistake here. I should have selected a different sunflower, because these seeds are very small, and maybe we'll try it at another time of selecting a sunflower that really has big seeds and big heads, so that way they'd be multi-purpose for feeding our chickens and our goats. But let's see where that goes. And if any of you grow some sunflowers that can be used for multi-purpose, and you're familiar with the good variety that I should use, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what varieties you think would be good. I want one that would be a really nice, huge sunflower that has a nice color, but could be multi-purpose. But we're just learning and trial and error, figuring out which varieties of all kind of different things work best for us. Okay, we did our sunflowers, we did our corn. Next I'm gonna try some dahlias in there as well. Maybe too late for these, but hey, we'll give them a try. Get something in there. Those are old seeds, so I don't know if they'll do anything, but hey, we need to get them in the ground and at least try. Well, a number of days have passed since I did that raised bed, and since then I have discovered that, well, the dahlia seeds, I don't think that they were gonna cut it. I don't think they're gonna produce. I think they were dried out and the seeds aren't any good anymore. The sunflowers haven't done anything yet. However, I don't count them out yet, so we'll give them just a little bit more time. But the corn has sprouted and is growing and looking good, and excited about that. And especially because we really haven't grown corn much here. And then last year when we tried, I tried in an area that really wasn't ready for it. The soil wasn't ready, and we didn't really get a harvest. So this year I'm hoping to get more of a harvest. I plan to grow corn in other places as well, because I also started some corn as starts in our bootstrap farmer trays, and I actually didn't know you could do corn as starts until here recently. So I'm trying my hand at that for the first time. And also mentioned that I was going to do some basil. Well, I did the basil, and I like to do basil kind of like microgreens, when I'm just kind of generously just spreading them out and growing them, and they have started, and those are looking well as well. And I also mentioned that I was going to finish putting the cat block on the raised bed, and I did that too. Well, we've had a number of challenges so far this spring, but despite the challenges, we're going to strive to continue to move forward and strive to continue to grow and grow more. So we'll just have to see. Do what we need to do, keep moving forward and grow on. Same for you guys.